Well, including black carbon will add new and significant incentives to reduce CO2 equivalent ship emissions. The reverse, not including them, would mean that over 20% of shipping's climate impact would be ignored under the Fit for 55 package. Including black carbon in the GHG intensity standard, either on a 100-year or a 20-year global warming potential basis, will result in higher overall CO2 equivalent emissions from all ships, which means it will be far more accurately account for the shipping's true climate impact. It also means that the GHG intensity standard 2020 baseline, which is yet to be calculated, will be higher than it would have been without including black carbon. But that's fine, as all ship CO2 equivalent emissions will accordingly be higher. The same occurred when black carbon was included in the IMO 4th GHG emissions inventory. Total ship CO2 equivalent emissions increased about 7% on a GWP 100 basis. Ships burning dirtier fuels which emit more black carbon will have higher CO2 equivalent emissions. So there will be more pressure, and it will come sooner, on ships burning these dirtier fuels to take measures to reduce their emissions. Particularly if, as being proposed, the GHG intensity targets for 2025 and 2030 and beyond are strengthened to better align with the Paris Agreement. At the end of this segment, we'll show graphs of the CO2 equivalent performance of various fossil fuels, including LNG, plotted as grams of CO2 equivalent emissions per megajoule of energy produced, and plotted against a baseline in red for 2020 emissions. The baseline here is our estimate, as the Commission, as I said, is yet to calculate their 2020 figure. So the question is, what will be the first likely mitigation measure? The obvious and most economical will be for ships that are burning very dirty fuels to start burning fuels that cause less emissions. This is possible without any changes to ship systems or to refueling port infrastructure, and they can be dropped in. The most obvious initial measure of switching to cleaner fuels will be to burn more distillates. The cost premium to start using more distillates over heavy fuel HFO or very low sulfur VLSFO is less than 10%. On the other hand, to switch to biofuels has a cost premium over 200%. Switching to LNG requires a completely new ship or a major retrofit of an existing ship. And it's important to note that not all fuel has to be switched immediately, but rather there has to be a progressive transition to meet these increasing GHG intensity standards, so that the fuel costs will only increase incrementally. Unfortunately, such an incremental process will not deliver an immediate switch to cleaner fuels in the Arctic. So an additional command and control measure is needed, which we will explain separately.